machines called Arceus. Now go. See his journey to free the world.
Ash and Pikachu wake up. The two are very confused about what is happening. The last thing that they remembered was being at Professor Cerise's lab, sleeping in their dorm room. Ash looks around. He doesn't recognize this place from any of his adventures. The two don't know what to do, so Ash decides they should just start walking around and hopefully find a village somewhere. They trek through the mysterious forest, encountering a lot of Sinnoh Pokemon, which leads Ash to believe that they must be somewhere in Sinnoh. This is only reaffirmed by the giant mountain in the middle, which Ash assumes is Mount Coronet. Still, something doesn't make sense. If this was Sinnoh, surely there would be more towns and people around. Yet it's just nature for miles on end. The rift at the top of the mountain is also worrying, but Ash decides to ignore it for now. All of a sudden, Ash and Pikachu encounter a giant Snorlax. It's as big as a totem Pokemon. Ash and Pikachu go over to see it, but when it looks at Ash, its eyes turn a bright red and starts to chase the pair. Ash and Pikachu then engage in battle with the giant Pokemon. No matter what they do, the Pokemon stand strong. It's as if it was the alpha of a pack. Pikachu is strong for sure, but it looks like this Pokemon will need more than just strength to take down. All of a sudden, the Snorlax is pushed back, and a girl and a weird-looking Samurott appear. Ash is confused, as this girl looks identical to Dawn. She tells Ash to give her a hand with the Pokemon, and the two combine their attacks, and by working together, defeat Snorlax, and it runs away. The girl comes up to Ash, who he mistakes for Dawn. The girl corrects him, telling him her name is Akari, a member of Jubilife Village. Ash is relieved, saying that Jubilife City must be nearby then. The girl then corrects Ash, as it's not a city, but a village. Ash is even more confused now, but the girl says they can figure out the details later, and right now they need to take Ash to camp. After all, it's dangerous to be out by yourself in the wilds, not with Pokemon around. This gets Ash perplexed. Humans weren't afraid of Pokemon, so why would Akari be? Akari and Ash make their way back to her base camp, where a man is waiting. He introduces himself as Professor Laventon, a researcher for the Galaxy Expedition Team. It's here where Ash and Pikachu finally get to assess their situation, as they learn they're in a region known as Hisui, which doesn't make sense considering Mount Coronet. He mentions Sinnoh, which Akari and Laventon only know is a deity the Diamond and Pearl clans worship, which Ash has never heard of. Akari and Laventon ask Ash how he got here, and he tells them he doesn't remember much. He states that he was trading with his friend, and then went to sleep for the night. He then heard a strange voice calling out to him, and then he was here. The three come to the conclusion that Ash must be from the future, and he was sent into the past. This of course shocks Ash and Pikachu, as they have no idea how they got here or how to get back home. Akari and Laventon reassure Ash, telling him it'll be okay. The two decide the best approach would be to take Ash back to meet with Captain Silene and Commander Komodo, as they might know what to do. They decide to make their way to Jubilife Village the next morning. After waking up incredibly early, Ash, Laventon, and Akari arrive in Jubilife Village. Ash is incredibly surprised to see how tiny Jubilife was a long time ago, as it's a night and day comparison to the city he's so used to. Ash gets weird looks from the villagers for his strange attire and for being an outsider, which Akari tells him to ignore. However, he does catch the interest of a certain merchant. The merchant comes up to Ash and introduces himself as Volo, who Ash can obviously tell must be related to Cynthia. Volo says Ash is strange, and that it's only natural the villagers would be wary of him. Ash explains the situation, and Volo is shocked to hear Ash is from the future. Volo then says he wants to learn more about Ash, and so challenges him to a battle. Ash is under a lot of stress right now, and honestly a battle is just the thing to help him right now, and so the two fight. Ash uses Pikachu, while Volo uses his ace Pokemon, Togekiss. The battle is pretty intense, but it's clear Ash has the advantage because Pokemon battles are more common in his day and age. The villagers start gathering around the battle as they've never seen something so enthralling before. Meanwhile, Akari and Laventon look on in shock, as Ash's synergy with Pikachu is incredible, way more than even Akari and Samurott. The battle comes to an end with Pikachu using Thunderbolt, knocking out Volo's Togekiss. Volo tells Ash he's amazing, and that as long as he's here in Hisui, he can count on him to be his friend. Ash is just happy to have found someone so nice, and shakes Volo's hand. That's when another figure approaches the scene. Both Akari and Laventon salute. It's none other than the Captain Silene they were talking about, who comes over to Ash. She's sketchy about both Ash and Pikachu, but after Akari and Laventon explain the situation, she decides to take him to the commander. Ash then goes inside Galaxy HQ and meets with Commander Kamado, an ancestor to Professor Rowan. They go through the whole thing once again, and the commander deduces this must have something to do with the giant space-time rift lingering over Mount Coronet. Kamado explains that ever since that rift opened, strange things have been occurring. Pokemon have become increasingly more aggressive. The 5 noble Pokemon guardians of the Hisui region have gone berserk, and now, Ash has arrived. He says that this all must surely be connected, but can't figure out exactly how. The topic then returns to the issue of the noble Pokemon, who the Galaxy team haven't been able to quell. Ash decides that since they're another byproduct of the space-time rift, they may have the answers he needs to return home. Kamado and Silene are against the idea. They don't want to be liable for another life, especially someone as foreign to Hisui as Ash. Akari then tells them he should be assigned to her as her partner, that he was able to fend off an alpha Pokemon all by himself. This shocks both Silene and Kamado, and they propose a deal to Ash. They tell him he is free to seek out the noble Pokemon as long as he joins the Galaxy Team's survey branch and serves as Akari's partner. Silene then explains the survey branch's objective, to travel across the region and learn all they can about the Pokemon that live there. Ash thinks to himself this isn't much different from his job as a research fellow, and plus it's really his only option. And Ash agrees to the deal and officially becomes part of the Galaxy Team, and is given a brand new outfit. Akari tells Ash he looks great, and the two are officially assigned as partners. This is when Volo barges into the command center. He tells them to forgive his intrusion, but he has overheard their conversation and decides he wants to go with them. After all, they'll need a trusted supplier, and he's willing to give it to them at a discount price. Kamado sees no objection to this, as Volo has been notorious for going on expeditions himself in the past, and so he's allowed to accompany Ash and Akari. Silene informs the trio that the closest noble Pokemon from here resides in the Heartwood, which is part of the Obsidian Fieldlands, the noble Pokemon Kleavor. It's guarded by Leon of the Pearl Clan, who she will inform of their arrival. Akari tells Ash that while he's here, he can stay at her place. After the meeting with Kamado, our new trio decide to walk around the town together, and Ash asks Volo and Akari what their goals are. Akari tells Ash all she wants to do is complete the Pokedex, that surveying is her favorite thing to do, and all she wants is to become closer with her Pokemon. Volo says that he's always been interested in the ancient ruins throughout the region, as they lead back to a civilization before even the Diamond and Pearl clans. He says he's always been infatuated by the legend of Almighty Sinnoh, and wants to uncover all of its mysteries. Ash is also intrigued by this, and wonders if the people of Hisui are aware of Dialga and Palkia. The two then ask Ash about his goal, to which he replies is to become a Pokemon Master. The two are confused and confident that Ash can make it come true. They end the night early. After all, they have a confrontation with a noble Pokemon the next day. The next morning, Ash, Akari, and Volo make preparations for their journey. While they do that, Akari explains how to properly fight a noble Pokemon. She states that the only way to calm a noble Pokemon down is by using a balm, which is filled with something the Pokemon likes. Only then will they be able to engage in battle with it and quell its frenzy. She says that Ash seems agile enough, so we shouldn't be worried about dodging and throwing the balms with accuracy. Volo says while they handle the noble Pokemon, he'll stay in the back and provide any resources they may need during the fight. After preparations are ready, they make their way to the Heartwood. After a long trek through the Obsidian Fieldlands, Ash, Akari, and Volo arrive at the tallest tree in the Heartwood. On their way there, Ash helped Akari survey some Pokemon, as well as KETCHUM herself. Her little catching spear reminded Ash a lot of Go, but he keeps that thought to himself. The three make their way to meet up with Leon, who thanks them for coming to assist him. Before the battle, the group creates a bunch of bombs that will be used to quell Kleavor. Volo puts a ton in his bag and says to just come over to him if they need any restocks. Akari then sends out another one of her Pokemon, Hisui, but just like Samurott, it looks a bit different. Ash deducts that Hisui must have regional variants that had most likely gone extinct over time, but there's no reason to think about that right now. The three enter Kleavor's domain. Ash and Akari prepare for battle. Kleavor is fast, but they're able to dodge his attacks with assistance from Pikachu and Hisui. Meanwhile, while this is happening, Volo takes out any supplies they may need. Ash and Akari restock on bombs from Volo, but Kleavor is becoming increasingly aggressive. Luckily, it seems like the bombs are starting to work, and it's becoming weaker. The two use this chance to finally launch an attack with their Pokemon. Kleavor becomes even more enraged by this, but Ash and Akari have run out of bombs. Volo then throws another basket of them, which allows them to continue their attack. The further enraged Kleavor is a tougher foe than before, but eventually they're able to weaken it to the point where they can land the final blows. Kleavor's golden aura then subsides from its body, as it returns to normal. Ashton starts to fanboy over how cool Kleavor was, and he's glad they're back to normal. Finally, the battle is over. The first noble Pokemon has been quelled. After the battle, the trio regroup with Leon, who thanks them for their help. The one thing that bothers them is that Kleavor gave Ash no hint for a way to return home, but Ash decides to let that go for now. He tells Akari and Volo that it's clear Hisui needs his help, and that's more important than currently returning home. Akari is relieved by this, as she was worried Ash would just leave whenever he found a way home. But Ash tells Akari he's here to stay for now. After all, their work is far from over. The trio return to Jubilife Village to give their report to Zanolith and Kamado. And this is when they encounter two people arguing outside the Galaxy HQ. It's a guy and a girl, who keep arguing whether or not Almighty Sinnoh was a being that controlled time or space. They're however interrupted by Ash and Akari. Akari actually hugs the girl, and it's revealed that her name is Irida, leader of the Pearl Clan, and Akari's best friend. The other man introduces himself as Adaman, leader of the Diamond Clan. Ash then tells the two of them their argument is stupid, that he's sure whoever this Almighty Sinnoh is must have the powers of both time and space. And more importantly, with the Noble Pokemon crisis, the two clans need to unite and be on the same page. The two reluctantly agree with Ash, but still have a feisty nature toward one another. All of them make their way to Kamado's office where they give him their reports. Ash and Akari report the Kleavor incident, as well as Ash's loyalty to Hisui and its people. Meanwhile, Adaman and Irida inform the commander of their respective noble Pokemon problems and how they're instructing their clans to approach them. They've also officially agreed to accept aid from Jubilife Village and the Galaxy team. Ash finds it a bit ironic they're more willing to work with a group of people that have a completely different culture from them, who refuse to work with each other. After the meeting, Adaman and Irida approach Ash. They both thank him for his efforts in quelling Kleavor, and are honestly both intrigued by his strength. They challenge Ash to a double battle, with Akari serving as Ash's partner. Ash uses Pikachu, while Akari uses Hisui and Typhlosion. Meanwhile, Irida and Adaman use Glaceon and Leafeon respectively. The battle is intense, but from the get-go it's clear that Irida and Adaman have horrible teamwork, while Ash and Akari are the exact opposite. Due to their battle with Kleavor, they've only improved as a team, and because of this, they're able to pull off some pretty impressive combos. This of course results in the two completely overpowering the clan leaders, resulting in them winning the battle. After the battle, both clan leaders commend the two on their strengths, telling Ash and Akari they wish them the best of luck in quelling the other noble Pokemon. Ash, Akari, and Volo continue on their quest to quell the remaining nobles. They make their way to the Crimson Mirelands, and with the help from Wardens Kalaba and Arezu, they're able to confront and quell the noble Lilligant. Volo also investigates the ruins in the area, adding it to his research notes. Next up, they arrive in the Cobalt Coastlands, and after helping the Wardens Iskon and Polina finally realize their feelings for each other, they confront the noble Arcanine, who evolved from Polina's Growlithe. It's not a fun battle, as they had to befriend the Pokemon, but they're able to calm down the Pokemon with ease. This leads the trio to the conclusion that the Space-Time Rift acts even now, so it must have some sort of mind of its own. After that, they trek up the Coronet Highlands along with the really annoying warden, Melly. On their way there, Volo stops to examine the ruins amongst the mountain, and he tells Ash he was right, that Almighty Sinnoh must be really 2 Pokemon, and that the Diamond and Pearl clans weren't right. Melly can't accept this, however, which just shows just how dedicated each clan is to their own faith. This is still a massive step for Volo, however, as his research is now growing. Ash and Akari then take on the noble Pokemon Voltorb, who they quell with ease. Finally, the trio makes their way to the Alabaster Icelands, as there's only one noble Pokemon remaining. They meet up with Warden Sabi and Garrick, and are able to take down the final noble Pokemon, Hisui and Avalugg. At this point, Ash has become close friends with both Volo and Akari, and it's late, so the three decide to set up camp for the night before returning to Jubilite Village. Ash can't sleep, and when he wakes up, he realizes that Volo has gone missing. Ash looks around and finally finds him staring at the frozen landscape. Volo tells Ash that he finds this world to be beautiful, but flawed. He tells Ash the real reason he's been exploring these ruins is because he feels like Almighty Sinnoh had made a mistake. He made his creatures to be flawed, imperfect, and that's reflected in this cruel world of Hisui. He wants to find a way to meet with that divine entity, to ask them why. Why did they make both humans and Pokemon so imperfect? Why give them the ability to think for themselves when all it would do was cause suffering in the long run? Ash refutes Volo's claims, saying that without free will, people can also do good. Volo says he's right about that, but he still wants to ask Almighty Sinnoh himself. Why did he make humans and Pokemon this way? Why? The next day, the trio arrives back in the village, and they celebrate their achievements. However, this is stopped when a loud noise is heard. When they go outside, it's revealed that the space-time rift has expanded. Kamado tells Ash this must be his doing, that him staying in this time period must have caused the rift to expand. He tells Ash to leave, that if he is the cause of this, he must be gone from the village. Akari is furious about this, and Laventon and Silene are visibly upset by this decision. Ash respects the commander's choice, and Volo says they're going to have to leave. Ash and Volo leave the village, with Akari saying she'll vouch for his innocence. In the Obsidian Fieldlands, Ash and Volo have set up camp at a nearby lake. This is when Ash and Volo have a discussion. Volo brings up what he told Ash, and how he won't ever agree with Ash's take on the matter. That no matter how much good he has done for this region, it's clear that overall humans and Pokemon were made imperfect, and that someone needs to fix them. Ash doesn't like where Volo is taking this. Volo commends Ash for getting this far. He thought the noble Pokemon he corrupted with the space-time rift would have been more of a challenge, but Ash made it like it was child's play. Either way, it kept him distracted so the space-time rift had time to grow, enough time for the rebirth to commence. Ash is now confused and a little scared, and asks Volo what he means by all of this. He tells Ash that he is the one who created the space-time rift, alongside Giratina. Ash is shocked by this, as a shadow comes out of Volo's. Giratina itself. He tells Ash that he is aware of the true nature of Sinnoh's legendary Pokemon, and that the purpose of the space-time rift is to distort time and space so much to the point where Dialga and Palkia will come to Hisui enraged in their purest original forms. The clash between them will create a portal that will lead to the Hall of Origin, the dominion where Arceus lies, beyond time and space. He tells Ash he will destroy Arceus and rebirth the world alongside Giratina, a perfect world where humans and Pokemon aren't flawed, where war and strife won't exist, a peaceful, eternal existence. He and Giratina both get what they want, Volo a new world, and Giratina the chance to destroy the one who banished him. He then goes on to explain he never sent Ash here, that his arrival in Hisui was not the work of the space-time rift. He saw Ash for the first time and immediately viewed him as a threat, an anomaly, so he decided to keep him close. Their friendship, his goal of looking into the ancient ruins, it was all a farce. He also knew that Kamado would view Ash as a threat after the space-time rift expanded, allowing him the perfect moment to finally be rid of him. He's going to kill both of them, and then await for Kamado and the others at Mount Coronet, as he's sure that Kamado's paranoia won't allow him to stay away from the rift. Ash and Pikachu fight off Volo and Giratina. But it's to no avail. They're completely overpowered by the sheer might of a true god. Ash and Pikachu are flung into a lake as Volo and Giratina disappear, ready to finish their plan. Ash and Pikachu lose consciousness in the lake, but a strange shadow then appears before them. Meanwhile, back at Jubilife Village, Kamado gathers the Galaxy crew, telling them the space-time rift will not go away. So they will climb Mount Coronet to find a way to stop it themselves. But he will not allow this to continue. Akari decides she's going to go after Ash and Pikachu. In the Fieldland, she's stopped by a mysterious Pokemon, a Namarus. And alongside it are Adaman and Irida. Ash and Pikachu wake up in a hut. They wake up to see an old lady, who is grateful for his recovery. Ash walks outside to find Akari, Irida, and Adaman, alongside a Namarus. Ash is confused, but the three of them explain that a Namarus was sent out by Kagita to find Ash, and that the old lady nursed him back to life. The lady then introduces herself as Kagita. She tells Ash that she has been aware of Volo's plan, and wasn't going to let him get away with it. She's had a Namarus keep watch of his travels all this time, awaiting for this moment. Irida, Akari, and Adaman tell Ash they're aware of everything, and vow to stop it. Ash is distraught, knowing the Galaxy team is walking into a trap. But Kagita tells Ash there is a way to save the Galaxy team and stop Volo. The Red Chain. Ash has already seen the Red Chain before, back when Cyrus used it during his time in Sinnoh, and realizes it's just what they need. Kagita tells Ash that in order to get the Red Chain, he must travel to the 3 lakes of Sinnoh, earning the approval of the Lake Guardians. By using the Red Chain on Dialga and Palkia, it will seize their attack, ending Volo's chances of entering the Hall of Origin and saving everyone. Ash asks Kagita why she's helping them, and she says that Volo is foolish. He may have good intentions, but he's gone too far. She explains that she's his mother, and wants someone to stop his rampage, that the world can never be perfect, and he needs to find the beauty within that imperfection. And so, the 4 of them set off to the lakes of Sinnoh. The 4 make their way to the lakes, earn the approval of the Lake Guardians, and finally assemble the Red Chain. Now all that's left to do is climb Mount Coronet and stop Volo before he can hurt anyone. Kamado, along with the rest of the Galaxy team, arrive at the Temple of Sinnoh, ready to face whatever monstrosities await them at the other end of the space-time rift. When they approach the temple, Volo was waiting for them, dressed in new attire. Kamado is confused to see him here and asks him what he's doing. He tells Kamado he was waiting for him, so he can witness the rebirth firsthand. Alongside the space-time rift, 2 portals appear. out come a frenzied Dialga and Palkia, who then begin to transform and become their origin forms. The two gods then begin their clash. The battle is on a completely different scale, as their sheer pressure completely destroys the Temple of Sinnoh, transforming it into the Spear Pillar. Ash, Akari, Adamant, and Irida arrive to Volo's surprise. Volo says he thought Ash was dead, but it does not matter. The group then activates the red chain and it surrounds Dialga and Palkia, but it's no use as the Pokemon break free from it with ease. Volo laughs, saying that was all they could do. The space-time rift then becomes bigger, and then a pair of stairs appear. The way to the Hall of Origin has opened. Akari tells Ash to follow after him, and that she, Adamant, and Irida can handle the calming down of Dialga and Palkia. Ash agrees and he follows Volo to the staircase. Ash and Volo make their way into the space-time rift, as the clan leaders and Akari approach the battling Dialga and Palkia. Akari's plea for them to stop catches their attention, and in their confused and rampaging states views her as an enemy. Akari sends out her 3 Pokemon, and Irida and Adamant send out Leafeon and Glaceon. It's time to stop the gods of time and space. Ash opens his eyes to find himself in Pikachu in a strange place. Volo waits for him, and alongside him is Giratina. He shouts out to Arceus, telling him to come out and fight him, that he is here to rebirth the world. He looks at Ash with disgust, and realizes that in order to fight Arceus, he must get rid of him first. Ash asks Volo why go this far. Volo tells him that it's all for the benefits of humans and Pokemon, that he will recreate them as perfect divine creatures once he has dethroned Arceus. Ash tells Volo he can't play God, that defeating Arceus will do nothing but make humans lose what makes them so great. Sure, humans have imperfections, but that's what makes them human. Volo doesn't have the right to take that away, take away our very selves, our very being. Volo tells Ash to be quiet, that a simpleton like him could never understand. The perfect world is now in his grasp, and he won't let a mere child stop him. Giratina then approaches Ash and Pikachu. It's time for Ash to take down Volo, once and for all. Back at the Temple of Sinnoh, Akari, Adamant, and Irida take on the rampaging gods of time and space. Akari is taking on Dialga by herself, with Adamant and Irida taking on Palkia. While this is going on, Kamado is left dumbfounded, but Silena is able to put the pieces together and tells Kamado she'll do what needs to be done if he can't. Kamado agrees with her, and the rest of the Galaxy team send out their teams to assist in the battles. Meanwhile, the 3 continue their attacks. Akari puts all she has into these attacks. Adventuring with Ash has truly brought her closer to her Pokemon. They've forged a bond Akari would have never thought possible. But now, she's confident in their friendship, and it will be that power that will save Dialga and Palkia from their rampage. Meanwhile, Adamant and Irida finally work together with good teamwork. It seems they've finally been able to put their differences aside and do what needs to be done for the good of Hisui. They also realize that Almighty Sinnoh is both Dialga and Palkia, and want to save the deities they've worshipped all this time. Together with more determination than ever, the 3 continue their assault, hoping that their attacks, bonds, and words will reach Dialga and Palkia. Back at the Hall of Origin, Ash and Pikachu are taking on Volo and Giratina. This battle is crazy, as Ash and Pikachu are taking on the literal embodiment of hatred and darkness. the one who for as long as time has existed has been trying to overthrow Arceus. Regardless, Ash and Pikachu won't allow this to continue. They have to stop this no matter what. Pikachu was able to gain the upper hand against Giratina, sending it back, but it's not done yet. Giratina begins to charge up energy and transforms into its origin form. Volo laughs, saying that Ash and Pikachu stand no chance against a god. The battle resumes and it's clear Volo's words have some merit to it. Pikachu is losing badly. Pikachu is flung back, and Ash goes to his side. While he does this, he looks up to see Giratina, charging up an attack ready to fire. Ash looks on in horror, but Giratina's attack is stopped by Palkia. Ash looks on with amazement as Akari appears alongside Dialga and Palkia. She was able to get through to them after all. Volo was in shock. There was no way they could have done that. Time and space were so distorted, even the mighty legendary Pokemon could not avoid it. Akari tells Volo that he's wrong, that there is a power stronger than time and space, the bonds that we share, the bonds between people and Pokemon, something that's spewed forth due to our imperfections, and allowed us to rival even the powers of God. Volo denies this, saying there's no way such a thing could thwart his plan. He then starts to rant to Ash and Akari, pleading for them to let him do this. It's here where Volo's true feelings are revealed, as he says he wants them to be perfect, as they're his best friends. Their friendship, it wasn't a farce. Yes, he was using them, but he does genuinely care for the two of them, and wants them to live side by side in this new world with him as perfect beings. So he asks them again, why won't they just let him recreate the world? Ash tells Volo even if that's his true feelings, they'll never stand by him, that it goes against everything they stand for. Volo laughs once again, and says that's fine, that he'll just kill the two of them here and now, and rebirth them as perfect beings when everything is said and done. And then, they can be together again. Ash asks Pikachu if he can stand, and Pikachu nods, and alongside Dialga and Palkia engage in one final clash with Giratina. Giratina counters, but it's no use, as the sheer power of the three Pokemon is too much, and in its weakened state it returns to its original form, and then creates a portal to the Distortion World, where it will go to heal from its injuries. Volo is broken, defeated. He begins to cry, saying he was so close to making his dreams a reality. Just then a bright light engulfs the Hall of Origin, and Arceus appears. Volo, witnessing the one who he has been trying to destroy, yells at him that he's come to mock him. Arceus' eyes light up, and Volo is surrounded by a bright light and disappears. Arceus turns around to the group, telling them he has sent Volo back to Hisui, where he will have no recollection of his past. He shall be given a second chance, a chance to live out the rest of his life. It's over. They've done it. They've stopped the space-time rifts and saved Hisui. Ash and Akari give each other a high five, which reminds Ash of Dawn. Ash then becomes worried, saying he doesn't know what to do. After all, the space-time rift was the one lead he had at getting home. Arceus tells Ash he does not have to worry, that he will return him home personally. The only problem is, everyone in Hisui will forget about Ash. Akari begins to cry over this. She doesn't want to forget Ash, but he can't stay here forever. He has to go home. Ash looks at Akari and says that even if she forgets about him, he won't forget about her. He won't forget her, Adaman, Irida, Silene, Komodo, Laventon, Kagita, even Volo. The bonds they forged are eternal. That's one thing they've learned from this. He says that he will carry those memories on with him, till the end of time. Akari thanks Ash for everything, saying that she's become the person she is today because of him. Ash also tells Akari she's in a lot for him too, and he'll let Dawn know she says hi. Akari laughs and the two exchange a hug. Akari is enveloped in a bright light and returns to Hisui, ready to live out the rest of her life. Ashton turns to Arceus, telling him he's ready to go home. Ashton closes his eyes and leaves Hisui, ending his journey there and getting back to his journeys in the present.